Hey Steph, I'm really glad you're back in Canada and that you're making videos again. I'm excited to see your video about Dijon and about your trip, and I look forward to seeing lots more from you. The topic I chose this week, once again, is something pretty serious. It's been taking up a lot of my thoughts the last few months. I've touched on it a lot in previous videos, but I think it's time to fully address sexism and gender in a full video. Basically, the more I think about it, the more I read, the more I learn, I see that everything that I've learned about gender is basically wrong and completely backwards. Let's start with a little background. So humans have 23 segments of DNA that come in pairs, and this makes up our genetic code. This code is basically what determines who we are and everything about us, from eye color, hair color, skin color, all of that. And so the genetic difference between a man and a woman basically comes down to one of these pairs of chromosomes, which are called the sex chromosomes. So normal pairs of chromosomes are shaped like X's, and so a normal female sex chromosome is called the X chromosome, because the pair looks like an X, as you can see. Genetic men, on the other hand, have one short chromosome and one normal X chromosome. So we call this chromosome Y because it's shaped like a Y, and scientists are super literal. The important thing to remember about this is that they're called sex chromosomes, and that basically this pair tells you whether you're genetically and anatomically either male or female. Now that you have a little backstory, I'd like to direct your attention to a story I read on Vox.com about research that's been done into the genetic differences between men and women. I'll put a link in the description. So shortly after scientists discovered these chromosomal differences between men and women, they designated the X and Y chromosomes as sex chromosomes. And the strong implication of this naming is that this pair of chromosomes is responsible for all our sexual characteristics. Everything that makes a male comes from that pair of chromosomes. The same with females. Females are females because they have two X chromosomes. And that's what we're taught in biology, all through high school, university, everything. But basically, given everything that we've learned about genetics since DNA was discovered, it's ridiculously irresponsible to continue to call the X and Y chromosomes sex chromosomes. And that's because we live in a society where most people consider gender to be male or female, and there's no gray area. So basically, what the research has shown is that essentially the only gender-related characteristic that's controlled by genes on the X and Y chromosomes are what our sex organs look like and their related functions. So absolutely none of the personality traits that classic gender roles would assign to either male or female appear to be controlled by the X and Y chromosomes, meaning that there is no prevalence for any male or female personality traits in a person just because they're carrying a given set of genitals. Now, there is something to be said to explain the differences that do exist between males and females, and so those are the hormones testosterone and estrogen. But all humans produce quantities of both testosterone and estrogen. So what's up with that? Testosterone is commonly associated with as a male hormone, and estrogen is a commonly known female hormone. But females and males both produce both hormones, just in different amounts. In addition, there's hormone replacement therapy in cases where people have either hypothalamus or thymus gland problems, which cause dysregulation of these and other hormones. So it's really no surprise that small variations in either hormone or any hormone could alter a person's behavior or physical appearance. Testosterone in men is commonly considered to be responsible for aggression. That's a link that's never been really proven and has clinical flaws, but it's also associated with things like muscle growth and hair growth. Estrogen is commonly associated with fluid balance, things like the menstrual cycle, but also many different human structural functions. It has to do with bone, muscle, all kinds of regulation. And so you'll notice that these traits, things like muscle growth, hair loss, lung function, kidney function, traits relating to these two hormones show up in all men and show up in all women. Women grow hair too. Men have fluid imbalances. In fact, we're actually all born and start developing as females physically until these hormones and many other factors kick in. Testes and male genitals all grew from female genitals in the womb, and there's ancient evidence that suggests this is a long-standing evolutionary principle. Many of the factors determining things like interests and hobbies, body size and shape, sexual desire, personality tendencies, and lots of other factors in what makes you who you are not controlled at all by the X and Y chromosome. There's definitely no reason to discriminate against somebody because of any predisposition or presupposition you might have about them when you meet them. And knowing what a person's genitals look like under their clothes should never and will never be an indicator of what that person is like. Men and women are two extremes on a sliding scale that has many dimensions, and trying to fit people into either a square peg or a round hole simply doesn't hold any water on biological grounds. Continued research will almost certainly continue to show that this is the case, and quite frankly, it's terrible that these concerns need to be discussed and fought on a daily basis. It's actually really, really frustrating. It's something I think about all the time. Basically, anytime I hear stories about this kind of thing, you hear stories about research, hear stories about gender discrimination, differences in gender, transgender issues, that kind of thing. It's just, it's horrible. Anyways, I encourage you to do more reading on this topic. I'll put some links to information that I've been reading in the description of this video, and I hope to see you next week. Love you. Bye.